Hello, everyone. My name's Catherine Dixon. I'm the Director General of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators, CIArb. I've been the Director General since May 2020, and maybe just start with a bit of background about my career. So I'm a solicitor by professional background. I'm also an accredited mediator. I have an MBA, and I've been a Chief Executive Officer probably for about 10 years now. So prior to getting my current role with CIArb, I was the Chief Executive of the Law Society of England and Wales. I also used to run an organisation called NHS Resolution, which is the organisation which indemnifies the National Health Service in England. So just to give you an idea, it's quite a big budget, around £1.3 billion a year in terms of dealing with claims, and around 16,000 ongoing pieces of litigation at any one time. So quite a background, I guess, in disputes and litigation. And I also introduced mediation into the NHS. So looking at ways in which disputes can be resolved without necessarily going to court. I also ran a large college. I was a college principal, so higher education, further education. But most of my career I spent in-house in a legal role as general counsel. So I was general counsel of a large children's charity in the UK called the NSPCC. And I spent a bit of time in Canada as well. So I spent 4 years in Canada. I was an outward bound instructor for a while, and then director of a health authority over there. And I was also the commercial director at Bupa, which is a large sort of private health provider and insurer. And when I started out, I was in private practice. So I was a commercial litigator when I first started in practice. And I guess when I'm not at work, I do quite a lot of cycling, which you might hear about. So I recently, just before I started with CIArb, I broke the world record for cycling around the world on a tandem bicycle, and just got back prior to lockdown. So that's my career to date, and I'm really looking forward to this interview and hearing from Anna and Noreen about their career journey too.
I think, I could go next. Unfortunately, my career is not as illustrious as Catherine's. But, when I grow up, I want to do all the many things that you have done. But my name is Noreen Kidunduhu. I am an energy and extractives lawyer based in Nairobi, Kenya. And I am the current chair of CIArb Young Members Group Global Steering Committee. I also have other positions of responsibility in the arbitration sphere as the Africa Regional Representative of the London Court of International Arbitration's Young International Arbitrators Group. And I'm also the co-founder of the Energy Related Arbitration Practitioners chapter in Kenya.
Fantastic. Anna.
Oh, thank you. It was so nice to listen to your introductions. I'm Ana Gerdau de Borja, Mercereau. I'm Brazilian and German. I did all my studies in law studies in Brazil, and part of my undergrad in the United States, and then grad studies in the UK, my LLM and PhD at the University of Cambridge. Today, I am a senior attorney, a senior associate at Derons and Garavi in Paris. I've been working for arbitration for the last 12 years. In Brazil, 6 years in São Paulo on domestic and international arbitration, and for the last almost 6 years now in Paris. I'm involved in a task force on international corruption in international arbitration that is led by the ICC Commission on Arbitration and ADR, and I'm actually coordinator of one of the tracks that's responsible for the questionnaires submitted to national committees. Also, I'm one of the founders of the Rising Arbitrators Initiative, RAI, together with Rocio Digon and Alex Leventhal. And I'm very pleased to be the vice chair of the Global Steering Committee. I'm delighted to work with Noreen and Catherine on this project. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Anna. Well, you've both had amazing career journeys to date, and it's fantastic to hear about them. And firstly, just to start with, congratulations for your appointments onto the YMG Global Committee. So Noreen as chair and Anna as deputy chair, a fantastic achievement, and we're so delighted to have you. So Noreen, tell us about the first few weeks. How have you found it taking up your new role as chair of the YMG?
Yeah, it's been exciting, but also overwhelming, but in a positive way, because so Anna and I set out from the beginning to just review what the role and the purpose of the steering committee is, and how best we can serve our members across the globe, as diverse as they are. And we set out from the very beginning to just define further what we would like to do and achieve. And one of the things we did is to designate roles to the different members in the steering committee. And so now we have, for the first time, branch liaison officers. We have social media coordinators. We have monitors for equality and inclusion. We have mediation ambassadors, we have adjudication ambassadors, we have education and training conveners within the committee who will work with HQ and the Institute to just push the agenda and the strategy of CIArb forward. And we've also just sat down and come up with projects and plans, webinars, trainings, and events that we hope to roll out through the year, that will cater to what we think the needs of the young members group is. And we'll also be looking forward to the young members to just also give us feedback and tell us what we need to do better and how to improve our offerings to them.
Fantastic. That's amazing in the first few weeks. So sounds like you've been around for years listening to all of that. So Anna, how's it been for you as well? Obviously, you've been on this journey with Noreen, but what have you been up to?
Yes, well, I think Noreen summarized most of what we've been doing in the last weeks. Also, perhaps it helped a little because we started our positions back in November 2020, so we had the time, at least more than 1 year, to acquaint ourselves with the work of the committee. So, and it's a pleasure. Perhaps the pleasure I have the most is working with colleagues from different regions. And as we achieved this year a very diverse committee in terms of regions, it becomes a delight to work with all these very talented colleagues.
Fantastic. So Noreen, you've been involved with CIArb for a little while, but tell us a little bit more about how you got involved. How did this journey start for you?
Yeah, my journey in CIArb started 8 years ago when I sat my associate course here in Nairobi, Kenya. I passed, and this was just before I was admitted to the Kenyan bar. So I passed the course and immediately went into a law firm, got retained into the law firm where I still am, which is OK Law, and began doing dispute resolution primarily as a court litigation lawyer. And as ADR began to pick up in Nairobi, I found myself doing quite a bit of arbitration and mediation work, which has now become mandatory in the Kenyan courts. So our cases have to be scanned for mediation first, screened for mediation first before they proceed onto the court system. And so I was doing all this while also pursuing my membership course with CIArb, and then went on to participate in a lot of the activities of the local branch. and then somehow find myself at the global steering committee now, in charge of, the members from across the globe. And I'm currently pursuing my fellowship course with the Institute.
Wow, so that's certainly keeping you busy, but
Right.
It's amazing journey, especially, starting from associate level and working your way up through the organisation, and very best of luck with your fellowship and with those exams. So Anna, what about you? How did you start your CIArb journey?
Yes, my CIArb journey started at a cocktail during the Wismut in Vienna, where I met the then CIArb's president, Naila Komaid Obeid. This was around this time in 2017 when I applied for MCIArb membership, just following our discussion at the cocktail. And later in May of the same year, I sat the accelerated Route to Fellowship exam in Milan that was organized by the European branch at the time. And thus I became a fellow. The sense of solidarity and collegiality struck me as very good things in becoming a member. And even during the fellowship exam, I found that there was a nice atmosphere between colleagues. And of course, the educational pillar of the institution, it's very important and dear to me.
Thank you. And so different routes actually coming in, the accelerated route. So it's really interesting to hear about the different ways that you can get involved, and fantastic that, following the moot, because obviously we have lots of younger members actually come through that route. They get involved with the moot and then they hear about CIArb and go on and join. So that's fantastic to hear. So tell me, Noreen, about, what do you think of the future? So what are your hopes for the future, particularly with the YMG, while you're chair? What do you want to achieve this year?
So Anna and I are very, very keen on having equality and inclusion feature, not just in the work of the committee, but in our offerings to our members, because we believe that our experiences are different from whichever region we are on the globe, or whichever region jurisdiction we come from. And we are better if we learn from what happens from our neighbors. So it'll be very imperative, and it's very one of the things that we really need to do, we really plan on doing, is to just ensure that there's equality and inclusion in what we do as a committee and what we're offering our members. We're also very keen on supporting the career progression of our members. We want to see our members move from associate to member to fellow to chartered arbitrator. We want to see them grow their skills and hone whatever skills that they need to be good, either arbitrators or to represent their clients. And so we're very keen on having trainings and webinars and events that will basically help our members to grow their skills and learn more about arbitration. And not just arbitration and ADR as well, which is why we have the adjudication and mediation ambassadors, to just ensure the full spectrum of ADR is known to the young members group. And finally, to just respond to the needs of the members and their different priorities and specialisms. For the longest time, arbitration and ADR have been a preserve for lawyers, but more and more we are seeing different professions coming into the arbitration sphere. So we're going to be responding to their needs and their specialisms through, again, setting up events and projects that particularly cater to them.
Fantastic. So it's really good to hear. I mean, equality, diversity, and inclusion is really at the heart of everything we're trying to do at CIArb. It's so important to enable the sort of best to succeed irrespective of their background, and that will obviously look very different depending on which jurisdiction we're working in. And so I think one of the fantastic achievements of the YMG is that diversity as part of the committee. You've got regional diversity, but you've got lots of different elements of diversity on that committee, and that's fantastic to see. Anna, what are you trying to achieve? What's your ambition as the deputy chair?
Yes, pretty much the same as Noreen. And for me, I mean, I want to on the diversity note, I want to focus on giving different regions a voice and encouraging interaction between regions as represented in our committee. And also perhaps by selecting new ambassadors, YMG ambassadors across the globe and in a complementary fashion, considering the current membership of the Global Committee. And having a very active branch liaison committee within the committee and dealing and liaising with the branches across the globe. I think this would be very, very helpful to
Definitely. Yes, definitely. Sounds great. Well, I'm looking forward to watching your journey as chair and deputy chair with interest, and obviously, you know, looking to support you wherever we can. But you've got some fantastic ambitions. I'm really looking forward to working with you. So, have you got any questions you want to ask me? She says with trepidation.
Of course, Catherine. What advice, based on your personal experience, that's very rich personal experience in the profession, would you give to first young members starting their career in ADR, and second young professionals in ADR like us?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's probably some similar advice actually, depending where you are with your career. So the first thing I'd say is get involved with CIArb. Depending on where you are with your career journey, there's opportunities for you to join as a student member, which will give you access to information about ADR, which can then put you on the ladder to professional membership, which starts with associates and the introductory courses, which we offer at a discount as well for students if students want to get involved, but also for younger professionals. So I think getting on that education and training ladder is quite important, and obviously the post nominals that we award based on passing those exams are recognised globally, and so it will differentiate you as part of your career from other people who maybe have an interest in ADR but have not gone down that route. So I'd really encourage you to look at our education and training and start on that journey, through associate to member and then hopefully to fellowship. I think the other important aspects are learning more about ADR, and there's lots of opportunities through events, webinars, through our publications that you can learn more about ADR globally, and crucially networking and creating that community. So one of the strategic aims of CIArb is to create that global and diverse community of dispute resolvers. And so getting involved with the YMG, getting involved with the membership, joining your local branch, getting involved with the activities that are happening at branch level, will really give you that network. It will give you access to knowledge and information, possibly joining our mentoring program if you become an associate will give you access to experienced practitioners who will be able to support your career and give you advice and tell you how it is best to progress. So, there's lots of opportunities for getting involved. As we come out of the pandemic, hopefully we'll have more, some face-to-face events as well. A lot of things have been online, but, even with the online activities, there's often some opportunities to network in breakout rooms and things and get to know people. So I'd really encourage that, and and take advantage of the joining and the membership and enjoy it, because there's some really great people involved in CIArb, and it is a big family, and we've sort of very much welcome your involvement.
I think that's great advice for our young members. I'm just curious about the world record that you mentioned earlier on, and whether you have any plans of breaking that record soon. Your own record.
I think breaking it once was probably enough. So we did break the world record, but we broke the men's world record actually. So it was me and another woman. So we were all female team, and we broke the men's record by 17.5 days. So so at the moment we're the fastest ever. So I think we'll just leave it there for the time being. I think it was a big commitment. And we were pretty tired when we got back, and we got back just before lockdown. So it was a bit of a race to get back, particularly across Europe, as Europe was closing down with the travel bans and things. So probably not to be repeated in the near future.
Perhaps Anna and I will be inspired enough to try and break your record for you.
Probably.
Good luck with that.
Yes, thank you.
But I think one of the things Anna has been, and Anna before the call had her son on her laps, and one of the things I know she's been saying is trying to find a balance, with your career, and of course also just being present when it comes to other facets of your life. And I don't know whether, if you've had to juggle any of this and how you've managed to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it can be quite hard, can't it, at times, juggling sort of career with with family and with other commitments. I think you've got to be true to yourself and authentic to yourself. And I think that it's interesting because we've got the International Women's Day coming up very shortly, where we talk about some gender bias issues and how we break that bias, because it does exist. There are expectations which can be more challenging for women. So staying very long hours, working very long hours in the office, particularly when you've got family commitments and things, can be a real challenge. And so I think it is a question of being true to yourself, maybe being a bit organized, but also being quite committed that, actually, I finished work now, this is time for family, or this is time for friends, or whatever other activity that you want to do, and being quite disciplined about that, and really trying to switch off. I don't always practice what I preach, but I do I do try. I guess one of the ways that I do switch off is I do, because I still do a lot of cycling, I find that doing sport quite relaxing. It enables me just to unwind a little bit, and I enjoy the activities. So keeping fit is quite important to me, and making sure that I'm healthy and well, and I'm not working massively long hours, though obviously from time to time sometimes you do have to do in your career, but certainly making time for family and friends is really important.
And I don't know if you had anything else.
Oh, I think it's wonderful to listen to you, and I think I don't have anything to add.
Thanks. Well, thanks for getting this together. It's really nice idea, and hopefully it will be engaging, and it will be something people can talk through.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Kathy.
Thanks.